With OnBase, you can seamlessly integrate workflow processing and document management into your accounts payable solution. On the front end, Brainware for Invoices captures and extracts data from invoices, and then invoices automatically flow into OnBase for workflow processing. In this example, you can see I have invoices that have been posted into the ERP, invoices that need coding and approvals, and invoices that need exception handling. In the pending post queue, I have an invoice for Van Inc. that went straight through from Capture and posted automatically into my ERP. I can open up the invoice, and I see that my keywords have been updated with a voucher ID. This tells me that a transaction has been created in my ERP. Now I can view the invoice transaction and image from my ERP. In this case, my ERP is SAP. I can see that the invoice transaction has been created, and I can view the image of the invoice using an embedded link in my ERP. Invoices needing coding and approvals have entered into these respective queues. Here I'll launch an invoice for Tulsa personnel and use a workflow task to launch a GL coding form. Working side by side with the invoice, I can enter my valid GL codes here in my form. I'll add one row, add the account unit, the line amount, the currency, and any other data that I need to fill in to complete my GL coding. After I provide the appropriate coding, I'll save the form and use another task to send the invoice on for approvals. Now let's talk about approvals. In this example, notice the invoice for Tulsa personnel is sitting in the awaiting approvals queue. Switching roles, I will play the role of Cindy Smith, who will approve her invoice through Microsoft Outlook. Here in Outlook, Cindy has received a notification telling her an invoice has been received, and it has instructions on approving the invoice. In this case, Cindy can see her workflow tasks on the right. If she chooses, she can view the invoice. And once she has reviewed the invoice, she can simply click on the approval task to approve her invoice and move it on to any additional approvers. Now let's move on to exception handling. In this scenario, I have an invoice where the line items from the invoice didn't pair to the PO lines in my ERP. Here, I'll use a task to launch a form. And once I have the form displayed, I can see all of the PO line items here in the grid. And I can see that the first line of the invoice did not pair successfully because it doesn't show a line number. This tells me that I have to look up the data in the ERP, and so without leaving OnBase, I'll click on the magnifying glass where I can query the ERP data and choose the line item which matches my invoice line item, thus completing the line pairing. I can save this and then move it on to a queue where I can attempt to post this into my ERP. From a reporting perspective, an AP clerk or processor has full visibility in where all the invoices sit in workflow. Here on the right, I have a shortcut to my AP invoice processing report. Once it's launched, several graphs and details make up my report. Starting at the bottom of the grid, you can see all of the invoices in workflow and its respective status reflected here in the queue name. On the pie graph, I can filter my results to the specific workflow queue in question. Here I'll choose Purchasing Line Item Matching. I can interactively launch the results by double-clicking on the invoice selection and view the invoice if I need to take any action or complete any tasks on the invoice. In summary, reports are configurable, they're interactive, And in the AP world, some common examples of other reports include accrual reports, user productivity reports, and even vendor reports. Finally, we'll end today's demo by searching for invoices and related documents in OnBase. Here's a shortcut to a search. When I launch the search, I can search by any of these keywords defined here. Now let's say that we're going through an audit and an auditor requests a certain set of invoices. For demo purposes, I'll leave my search open-ended. And now I can see the document types that make up my AP process. I can filter my results by document type. So if I choose AP PO invoice, I'll only see my PO invoices. Here's all the invoices that fit that document type. And I can further filter by choosing the vendor name. Now that I have my results needed, I can share these documents to my auditor by right-clicking and choosing Send To. And here you can see I have options for emailing the invoices. I can print the invoices, and I can even save these to file to share with my auditor. So with OnBase, workflow, reporting, and searching are all features that can enhance and automate your accounts payable solution.